Are you listening? Damn.
What's going on? What's going on? It's your boy Isaac, aka the Iceman of the Under No Conditions podcast. How is everybody doing? How's your week? Tiana White is on assignment. She is out of town taking care of some business. She most definitely be back with us next week. What's going on with you guys, man? How's your week? How's your families? I hope everybody is healthy, happy, and joyous at this point in their life. Today, man, we're going to talk about self-confidence and not allowing anybody to validate your own self-confidence. As you guys know, many Americans, we suffer from that disease of not really feeling too confident about who we are and what we're doing. And we always find a way to lean on self-validation from other people. I am a true witness of that, right? Having people validate your existence and really and allowing it to determine how you feel about yourself. Because self-confidence is really internal. It's an internal mechanism that we all have when we feel good about something that we accomplish. Unfortunately, self-confidence comes with a level of failures. If you're not careful, it can diminish your whole well-being of how you feel about yourself. So today, let's get into it. Self-confidence, something as simple as learning a language. Why? I could talk about it because I've been trying to learn how to speak Spanish for a minute. And every time I get started, I stop. I get frustrated. I become irritable. However, I continue to pick up the book and I continue to move forward. And a lot of times for me, through that frustration is a lesson. So for me, what is the lesson for me? Why is it so difficult for me to learn how to speak another language? Is it really because I really don't want to speak another language? Or am I not patient enough to understand, the process that I'm going to really have to go through to get to where I'm going? So once I understood that it was a process and the process has steps, and in the process, I'm going to have to continue to go over these steps so I can not master, so I can feel comfortable enough to get to a point where I can start really speaking the language. You realize things get better. Another example, you want a job. You come into a job, you have some applicable skills, but you're going to a job and you're learning a new task. And, you're in a situation where you're the new kid on the block and really nobody knows you. However, you might be in a situation or position where your co-workers may not be willing to reach out to assist you so you could get where you need to be. So now, when you run into that situation, that happens, at jobs all the time. When you run into that situation, you got to put your feet down. You got to keep your head up. And you know what? And you're going to have to really, really pay attention. However, in that process of paying attention, how are you building self-confidence? Self-confidence sometimes comes with asking the right question at the right time. Sometimes self-confidence comes with asking a stupid question at the right time. However, no matter what question that you ask, it's really not a stupid question. But in that process, for me, what I've learned is that I also have to depend on my own personal abilities when it comes to self-confidence. Let me sit down. Let me be patient. Let me listen. Let me see. Let me learn when to ask the right questions at the right time. Let me learn when not to ask the right questions at the right time and pay attention and apply those applicable skills to the new thing that I'm willing to learn. And many times for me, I like to pay attention. because what I've learned in the process for me in developing my self-confidence, even if I'm around people that aren't willing to teach me, if I learn how to listen and I keep my mouth closed, I will learn everything that I need to learn with patience. And this won't allow me to have self-validation from people around me that's telling me, oh, Isaac, you're doing a great job. Oh, Isaac, you're this. Oh, Isaac, yo, you the number one employee. I'm really not big on that. I'm really big on just continuing to work on my craft and allowing my work to speak for itself. Now, this way it gets a little tricky for a lot of us. We can feel like we doing the best job that we possibly can. It don't matter what occupation you in, but there's always going to be somebody that's going to feel like you're not doing as well as you should be, you're not doing good enough, or you just garbage. Now, when it gets to that point, you got to make a personal inventory of yourself. Now, let's say that does happen, and you got that one person that's already always criticizing what you do. But in the spectrum of the whole performance issue at work, nobody else is complaining. Everybody's seeing you putting the effort. You doing your job. You understand what I'm saying? And you seeing self progress within yourself. At that point, you got to tune some things out. You got to be like, now it's time for me to understand who I'm dealing with at that process and be like, you know what? That's who that person is. I'm gonna focus on what I need to do. I'm here to do a job. I'm not here to make friends. And a lot of times, a lot of people fell in that area. They get in situations where they're around people. Sometimes in that process of really developing self-confidence, you got to realize that everybody don't have your best interests. How about that? No matter what you do, 8 out of 10 people are not gonna have your self-interest, right? They're gonna talk down to you. They're gonna say you're inadequate. They're gonna tell you about all the other failures that has happened in that situation. If you do this, what's gonna happen? They're doing that. They're gonna do all those things. However, you gotta keep your feet down. You gotta keep your head up, and you gotta stay focused on the task at hand. The task at hand is not only learning, listening, and understanding, but you know what? Giving yourself an opportunity to put yourself in a position where you feel like, you know what? I can do this. And that's where self-confidence, comes to play. It doesn't mean that I have to be cocky about it. It doesn't mean that I need to be better than anybody else, because I'm the type of guy, I don't want to be number one. I'm cool with being 2 or 3, because I always want to give myself enough room for improvement. That's just me. However, unfortunately, in that process, I do understand one thing. There are a number of failures, there are a number of trials that I'm going to experience that I'm going to have to take a look at, and I'm going to have to look at the lessons that's processed through those failures. And sometimes you could take them as a grain of salt, but many times you have to really sit down and look at them, understand the failures, and understand, you know what? Yes, I could have did this better. Yes, I could have slowed down and done this. However, in that process, I'm not going to let that diminish my self-confidence. I'm not going to allow how you feel about me diminish my self-confidence, because I always understand the one thing about me. Everybody in this world brings a set of skills somewhere. And that's where you got to dig in deep and understand who you are and what you're about, what you're capable of. What are your weaknesses? What are your strengths? You know what I'm saying? What are some of the things that you dislike about you in the process of you doing your job? What are some of the things that you know that you like as far as you is concerned when you're doing your life? When you're doing a job, nobody's ever perfect. So always remember that. And always remember, no matter what type of job you do what type of relationships or friendships that you develop. You're going to have weaknesses and you're going to have strengths. You work on your weaknesses, once weakness at a time, and you continue to develop and improve those strengths. That way, with the self-confidence, you can have this thing called balance in life, because every day is going to be different. Life is going to bring many trials. It's going to bring many circumstances. You're going to have days where you feel like you're not at your best. But when you don't feel like you at your best, that's when you got to be your best. That's when you got to be your best, and be your best at the top of the food chain. That's what I said. When I don't feel like doing something, that's when I know I got to do it. When I feel like, okay, I'm really not in the mood to take on this task, I'm really not the mood to deal with this situation, I'm really not the mood to talk about what I'm going through, that's when I know, personally for me, that's when I know I have to do it, and I have to do that for me. And it's important that I do it, because in those processes, once again, I continue to learn the lesson. I continue to fight through whatever I'm fighting with internally at that point in time to keep me moving forward. And for me, that's really important. Notice, recognize, and acknowledge the person that you are, the person that you used to be, and the person that you want to become. All those things is going to manifest, and they're going to play a part in everything you do, and it's going to play a part in how you build self-confidence within yourself, because it's an internal self-confidence. It's internal. Nobody can give it to you but you. It's like self-confidence and being happy. They like cousins, right? Nobody can make you happy. If you're not happy with yourself, then nobody can do that. So in building self-confidence, it has to be internal. I have to feel good enough about what I'm accomplishing and what I'm doing. And understand this, in that process, you're going to fall short. You're not going to always be perfect. It's not going to always be a good day. However, you got to get up. You got to keep your feet planted. You got to keep your head high, because once again, that will help you, and it will teach you, and it would allow you to continue to build on that internal trigger that helps you develop self-confidence. So I just wanted to come on here today real quick and just talk a little bit about that, and really helping you guys understand it's important that you believe in yourself. And believing in yourself is not always is not always going to be the successes that you want for yourself. And second, don't have expectations of people. Even if you have expectations of people that you may have yourself, people will fail you. Learn how to meet people where they are. Me personally, I give everybody a 5. Whether I meet you for the first day or if I've been dealing with you for a week, it's up to you to go from 5 to 10 or from 5 to 0. I don't dictate that. I don't determine that. I meet you where you are. And in the process of building self-confidence, and when you're dealing with people, never forget that people will teach you how to treat them. And you have to pay attention to that lesson, because that will take you a long way. This is your boy Isaac of the Under No Conditions podcast. I had a great time with you guys. I wanted to come on here and I just wanted to say a few words to you guys. Tiana White and myself, we'll be back next week with another episode of Under No Conditions. And if nobody told you that they love you today, guess what? We here Under No Conditions. We love you. And hit us up, man. If you got, you got into something you want to talk about, or you're going through something, hit us up on THEUNC podcast at gmail.com. That's THEUNC podcast at gmail.com. Ain't nobody tell you they love you. We love you guys. Stay well, stay peace, stay strong. We out.